Let me now move to some behavioral questions. I'll be sharing these two PDFs with you, right? These are for interview prep, and I have myself used these PDFs extensively. So behavioral questions, right? These are really, really important. People usually downplay the importance of these, and you should pay special attention to these. I don't want to quote a percentage weightage as such, because different companies have a different percentage weightage for these questions, these types of questions. But essentially, these are extremely important. I won't be wrong in saying that these have about 40-50% importance in the overall interview stages, the overall interview process, right? So the most common question, the first question that is asked in almost every interview is, tell me something about yourself, which is also known as TMSAY. And you need to prepare this beforehand for every data science, data analytics, product management, and even consulting interviews. You need to prepare this beforehand. And this is extremely important. I cannot stress enough the importance of this. You should, cover your journey throughout, starting from, let's say, your school days. Maybe touch upon one major highlight from your school days, if that is adding value. Then start from your first year. Then try to build a coherent story from first year to second year, third year, fourth year, and how your journey makes you a better fit for the position that you're applying for, right? You want to convince the interviewer that you are the best fit for that particular role. Then we have, I'll show you some examples of behavioral questions that are general behavioral questions that are solved through the STAR framework, which is situation, task, action, result. You first talk about what was the situation, then what was the task that you were assigned, what was the action you took, and R is what was the final result, right? Let me display some of these questions. Now this can be, tell me about a time when you learned something about teamwork, or tell me a time when you led a team, or tell me something about one of your biggest failures. These kinds of questions are asked very frequently. Let's say this one. Give me an example of a time when you had to go the extra mile, which means you had to put in some extra effort. Now, in these cases, you follow the STAR framework. That is the best way to go about it. And this is not, I'm not recommending this myself. Everyone that I talk to, all the interviews, everyone in the industry, almost 70 to 80% people recommend using the STAR framework, even more than that. So here you first talk about the situation. What was the situation in which you had to go the extra mile, or you had to work harder, like study during weekends, stay late in the office? So give some of these, give an example of a situation. Now in all these questions, we are giving some examples, right? So first give the example of a situation. What was the task that you had to do? What was the action after that? STAR, what was the action? And finally, what was the result of your action? So that is, and again, this is a similar, this here also you'll be following the STAR framework. Can you tell me about a time when you were able to build motivation in your co-workers or your teammates? Again, how do you handle a challenge? Here also you can give an example of a particular challenge that you handled, right? Always support your answer with examples. That is a golden rule. I think people who are not attending the session are really missing something, because not everyone will tell you this. And I have experienced this myself. These are the rules that I don't read in any PDF or in any book. These I have learned only through many, many interviews that I've given, right? So I think 3 or 4 golden rules. First one, in such situation-based questions, follow the STAR framework. Second one, give examples wherever you can. I think this has the highest priority. Give examples wherever you can. This is most important. Third one, prepare for tell me something about yourself. That TMSAY question. Tell me something about yourself. Prepare very hard. I've seen people practicing 100 times for this particular question. And I myself must have practiced 40, 50 times for this particular question. So This is the most important one. This is similar to, something that can break or make your interview. So pay a lot of importance to this. How do you handle a challenge? Again, give an example. What is your greatest weakness? Again, an example should be the best way to go about this. And when you give an example, make sure you follow the STAR framework. How do you handle working with numbers, clients, multiple tasks, stress? Very common questions. These are data science questions, right? Let's move to some easier ones. Now, when I share this PDF with you, you'll be seeing some questions which are more apt for people with work experience. That those questions do not apply to you, but you can just maybe read through them and get an idea. So they can also give you a situation, a particular situation. This was asked to me in one of my interviews. As a data analyst, you'll often work with stakeholders who lack the technical background. How will you handle this challenge of explaining that technical jargon to them, right? Of explaining something to them. Let's say you're presenting a Power BI dashboard. Not everyone will understand the meaning of those bubble charts and those funnels that you're making advanced stuff. So you need to explain that properly. Then we can have other examples like tell me about a time you and your team were surprised by the results of of a project. Then which soft skills are essential for a data analyst? Tell us about a project. Again, here you'll use the STAR framework. Tell us about a project where, due to data limitations, the stakeholders could not reach the answer they needed. And how did you resolve this issue? Again, best way to go about it is the STAR framework. Give me an example of a time when you worked as a team. Failure related questions. Then we have strengths and weaknesses related questions. What is your biggest strength? What is your biggest weakness? Then there is this question which looks cliche to me actually. Nowadays we don't really get this question very frequently. Why should we hire you? I think tell me something about yourself. The first question that is asked to you is partly answers this question, because you during your narrative you tell about something that makes you stand out, which makes you more employable, which gives the company a reason to select you. So uh, that is why the tell me something about yourself question is important. So these were some questions that we get frequently. Then explain to me a technical concept related to the role that you're interviewing for. Introduce me to something you are passionate about. Let's say Steve Jobs. You might be passionate about Steve Jobs. How will you explain this to me? Then in sales roles, we have a very common question, sell me this pen, right? So they want to check your, I mean, your salesmanship or your selling skills that way. Then this is a more technical question. This is also a technical question. We've covered these in statistics. I'll be covering AB. I have not covered AB test. I'll not be covering in this data course. We'll cover this in product management course, but this is related to statistics. How would you explain to a group of senior executives why data is important? Now, there was another question which I was asked multiple times. That was, let's say you have your CEO or your manager is disagreeing with something that you are building or is not happy with whatever you are building. He wants to do it in some other way, but you are very, very confident that you need to build that feature in the same way, or you need to do something in the particular way. How will you go about it? So how will you go on convincing him or maybe listening to his advice, whatever? So that is another question that is asked frequently. Then some things are asked, your favorites. What is your favorite algorithm? Tell me about a data project. This is again a STAR framework question. Tell me about a data project that you worked with a team. What did you add to the group? How did you contribute to the group? Yeah, so these are some questions. This particular PDF has a lot of other questions also. These are technical questions: predictive modeling, programming, probability, stats, data analysis, product metrics. and communication. So whenever I covered these topics, I took some examples from this PDF and some of my own real life examples. We have not covered product metrics because this is a more product management related concept. We will not be covering it in this course. But yeah, I mean, sometimes data analysts or product analysts handle product terms very frequently. I mean, come across product terms very frequently. So it is good if you know these. So for example, what would be good metrics of success for an advertising driven consumer product? Let's say we are talking about YouTube. So what would be good metrics of success? Let's say how many consumers subscribed to a particular channel on YouTube. That number can be a good metric for success. These types of questions. You might not be familiar with these, which is totally fine. Just go through these if you also are targeting product management.